This morning, President Trump went after Congress in a tweet and charged them with having worsened our relations with Russia as a result of the bill that he signed yesterday. And it's kind of funny because the news reports in regards to this were so vague. They wouldn't state the number of representatives in either chamber who voted for this measure. So to break down what I'm trying to convey here is that he claims because Congress passed these Russia sanction bills that they're somehow responsible for the way things are going to shape up to be with worse relationships with Russia. But if he does not approve it, it it can be stopped from happening. He chose to sign this bill that he's saying completely ruined everything, or worsened stuff or whatever. The only way Congress can get around him is by having 2/3 of the vote, which has only happened 7% of the time before. But nonetheless, this is seemingly impossible to know because everywhere I've looked on, I haven't been able to see the exact number stated. It's just majorities. Okay, what was the majority? If in the Senate they were able to get 70 senators to vote for this, then they can override his veto, which we only know if he was even possible or capable of doing that if they had less votes. So still, you need to know that to understand whether or not his criticism or his claim or his insult or whatever phrase you might want to use to describe it are credible in their allegations. The big problem we have with government currently is that people are not educated in the classical sense by the media. So you'll have people who say, "Oh, the media, they tell us things, and they're our friends because they inform us of various incidents." And while that's true, politics and government and just the basic functions of a democracy are things that need to be explained repeatedly because there's so many different details that you're not going to remember on a daily basis unless you're like me and you actively keep up with this stuff, which I'm willing to admit most people do not. So, for example, I'm willing to bet a number of individuals who saw this news report today were not familiar with the fact that 2/3 of a vote from either the House or the Senate can override a hypothetical veto from Trump on this bill. And that's something that isn't necessarily their fault because no one would think to look that up. But you can't just say that this is something we need to keep ignoring. We have to, as a collective society, try to inform individuals. And I'm a person, who believes in learning and trying to discover new things. So when I see the media keeping details such as how many people voted for this out of the way, at least from the reports I saw, I get dubious because you need to know that in order to understand to what extent does this matter. And it's like that for most things. There's always going to be that what if. So if someone says, okay, well, I want you to go through this door. Well, what if the door is locked? What if the door collapses on me? There's always, that's the problem. Elu Blossom says that's the problem. Noah's willing to learn from each other. Yeah, well, you have to have constructivity on the part of both individuals and organizations. And unfortunately, there's a profit to be made by ignorance, being uninformed, and not being familiar. So, for example, you have all these people talking about, I want Trump to get impeached. I want Trump to get impeached. I can guarantee you there are a number of those. And this is not to say they're stupid because we don't talk about the presidential line of succession. There are a number of those who are not familiar with the fact that if he gets out of office, it's going to be his vice president that takes over. And also, there are a number of people who probably don't even know anything about Pence's policies or anything, to where if they did know, they would want Trump to stay in there the whole 4 or 8 years, because Pence is, worse in every way that hypothetically a liberal or person who leans left would have with a politician. So that's my say on this. I know we got a little bit off top. Yeah, um, that's the point. He's worse. So this little Twitter game that Trump engaged in right now, um, I would take this any day over the calculated, standard politician, formerly governor of Indiana, who will say, this will be done, that will happen, this will occur. There's not going to be any of this inner conflict or turmoil. That man is so scripted. He ought to come with some papers. You would think he just has all of his lines in his pocket at all times. The standard politician. And if you're looking for a person who's going to go and push through an agenda that's going to screw over a majority of people, you couldn't find a better character that is at least in that line of succession. So if you were to say impeach Pence, um, and end up with Ryan or one of the secretaries, then you start getting a little bit more murkier, because we don't know all of their well, we know Ryan's positions, but we don't know the secretaries. So it's all. This goes back to the idea that I'm conveying here, that the things I have said in this video, I believe, are more informative and more to the point than what you are going to see on most of these cable networks. Um, except for, no, TYT is online. So yeah. All right. So thank you for watching. Have a good day.